Today, the Sahara is a kingdom of sand and silence. But look closer. The desert keeps secrets.
The desert is no desert. The gods have...
Ma. Hey, Ma.
Once, this was not a barren sea, but a world alive with rivers, forests, and great herds. Imagine a Sahara where crocodiles basked in lakes the size of countries, and cattle grazed where dunes now stand. A forgotten paradise hidden beneath the sand. When we think of the Sahara, we picture endless dunes and blazing silence. But wind back the clock 10,000 years, and the world was unrecognizable. After the Ice Age, a shift in Earth's orbit pulled the monsoon rains north. What had been desert bloomed into grasslands, rivers, and forests. Geologists call it the African Humid Period. But to the people who lived here, it was simply home. Imagine a Sahara dotted with lakes so vast they stretched beyond the horizon. Mega Lake Chad, for example, was larger than all of today's Great Lakes combined. Rivers cut across the desert, forming green corridors where hippos wallowed, elephants roamed, and migratory birds filled the skies. The evidence still speaks. Fossilized fish bones lie buried beneath dunes. Shell beds rest hundreds of miles from the nearest sea. And on the sandstone walls, human hands carved giraffes, cattle, and hunters into stone. A living diary of a vanished paradise.
Aheya, aheya.
For thousands of years, people thrived here. Families built camps by rivers, raised cattle on savanna grass, and worshipped the spirits of water and sky.
Ooh, spirits of the river, hear our prayer.
The Sahara was not a barrier, but a crossroads, a green heart of Africa. Today, the desert hides that memory beneath its sands. But satellites, fossils, and ancient art allow us to peel back time, revealing just how extraordinary this transformation was. The Sahara was once a world of life. A world now waiting to be remembered. Why did the Sahara, the world's greatest desert, suddenly bloom into a green paradise? The answer lies in the rhythm of the Earth itself. Our planet does not orbit the sun in a fixed way. Over thousands of years, Earth's tilt and wobble, called precession, shift the timing of the seasons. Around 14,000 years ago, this orbital cycle pushed the African monsoon rains northward. Where today there is silence and sand, back then storms rolled over the desert sky. But it wasn't just the rains. Once grasses and trees took root, they changed the very climate. Plants darkened the land, trapping more heat and drawing in more clouds. This is called the vegetation albedo feedback. In simple terms, more plants made more rain, and more rain made more plants. A self-sustaining loop of life. We also know the Sahara's greening was tied to distant oceans. Changes in Atlantic currents and shifts in El Niño patterns sent their fingerprints all the way into Africa's heart. Even the amount of dust carried on the wind helped shape rainfall. Less dust meant clearer skies. More sun, more evaporation, and stronger rains. Marveling, the rains return. The grass rises again. His words fade into thunder and bird calls.
Indeed.
How do we know all this? Because the Sahara's past is still preserved beneath its sands and lakes. In mud cores pulled from long-vanished basins, scientists read layers of pollen, grains that tell of grasslands where now only dunes remain. Each layer is like a page in the Sahara's diary, recording its transformation from desert to savanna and back again. Even a single pollen grain under a microscope holds a memory. A record of a time when elephants walked where only scorpions crawl today. The green Sahara was no miracle. It was Earth's clockwork, monsoons answering the pull of the planet's orbit. But it was also fragile, balanced on feedbacks that could shift with just a nudge. That fragility is what would one day bring the green world to an end.
The rains return, the grass rises again.
When we imagine the Sahara today, we picture emptiness, dunes stretching for endless miles. But during the African Humid Period, this was not a wasteland. It was a land of rivers, savannas, and great lakes, and more importantly, it was home. Here, human life flourished.
Welcome home.
Yes, welcome home.
A great hunt.
Fascinating.
Yes, I see.
Families lived near rivers shaded by acacia trees where children played while parents fished or herded cattle. Archaeological remains tell us of communities that raised livestock, harvested wild grains, and gathered water lilies from shallow wetlands. The people of the Green Sahara were not wandering lost souls of a desert. They were skilled survivors who adapted their lives to a rich and changing environment.
And the earth earth receive the gift of life.
Hear now the wisdom of the earth as we call forth the fertile rains.
This spiral brings good fortune to our home.
And this wave, a bountiful harvest.
This is really beautiful.
You're doing so well, my child.
Yes, a truly wonderful pattern. Greetings, friend.
We welcome you.
They built
Greetings
camps
from
along
our kin.
riverbanks,
We bring gifts
hunted
of the
gazelle
desert.
and
Welcome,
hippos,
travelers.
fished in the
Your
lakes,
journey honors
and
us.
painted their lives on rock walls, vivid images of dancing, herding, and hunting that still survive thousands of years later.
This teaches us to find our way back, even in the deepest desert.
We see traces of their rituals, burials carefully adorned with beads
is the
made
mark
from
of the great
shells
desert fox,
carried from the
clever and
faraway
quick.
sea.
May the waters bless us with abundant life and fertile
These
ground.
people were connected, not isolated. They traded, they celebrated, and they mourned. And perhaps most striking, they were among the earliest pastoralists in the world. Long before
Look what I
Egypt's
made.
pyramids, Saharan herders raised cattle, carving a way of life that would later shape civilizations across Africa. Their story is not one of scarcity, but of creativity. The Green Sahara was a cradle of life and of culture.
We live where rivers once walked the desert.
The Sahara looks empty, but under its sand lies a forgotten archive of human life. Archaeologists have found entire landscapes preserved in silence. Buried riverbeds traced from space, vast shorelines where fish once swam, now hundreds of kilometers from the sea.
This is gonna be good.
We've been so hungry.
Not much longer.
And human footprints, lives pressed into mud thousands of years ago, now hardened into stone. In rock shelters, hunters painted giraffes and cattle where today only dunes march. Their art is more than decoration, it's testimony. It shows a world where herds grazed, people fished, and families celebrated the rains. But evidence doesn't stop at art. Excavations reveal villages along vanished rivers, with hearths still marked in ash, beads of ostrich shell still threaded in necklaces.
This is a beautiful day. It's so good to see all of you here.
And graves where the dead were laid to rest with care and ritual. Each site tells of ingenuity. People who adapted, thrived, and built cultures in places now thought impossible. And then, the silence fell. As the desert returned, many of these sites were swallowed by dunes. Only fragments remain, bones, tools, and echoes. To read the story of the Green Sahara today, archaeologists must fight shifting sands, fragile time, and the desert's unrelenting erasure. The Sahara's green paradise did not last forever. Slowly, the Earth's orbit shifted again. The rains weakened. Lakes shrank, Rivers vanished, and once verdant grasslands turned brittle and dry. To the people living here, this was not an abstract process. It was the world they loved slipping away before their eyes.
Please get better, my child. Please get better. Please be well, little one.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
At first, they adapted. Villages moved closer to shrinking lakes. Herds pushed further in search of pasture.
So our children will remember the rivers.
But year after year, the sky betrayed them. Drought followed drought, and the winds carried back the dust that had once fertilized the oceans. Archaeological evidence tells us of villages abandoned, hearths left cold, fishing gear buried in sandstorms. Shell beads from forgotten burials now lie deep beneath dunes. Silent testimonies to lives erased by climate. For these people, collapse was not sudden. It was a slow, grinding farewell.
Oh, great spirits, bring us the rain.
A farewell to the rivers that once fed their crops, to the lakes where children once played, to the fertile soils where life had blossomed.
Here was water.
By 3,000 years ago, the Sahara had transformed into the desert we know today. Human resilience carried some survivors toward the Nile, toward sub-Saharan Africa, and even into the Mediterranean world. But the Sahara itself had closed its gates. What was once a green cradle of civilizations became a kingdom of sand, its stories preserved only in fossils, rock art, and the memories of stone. The Green Sahara did not vanish without leaving its mark. When the rains faded, its people did not disappear. They carried their knowledge, their stories.
This was our land when it was green.
And their survival skills with them, shaping civilizations that would rise in its shadow. Some migrated east, toward the Nile Valley.
Ancient desert, Nile's embrace. Spirits listen to our plea.
From the desert's heart to the Nile's embrace, ancient whispers guide us.
Where their traditions merged with those who built the first kingdoms of Egypt.
Oh, the seeds! Oh, the seeds!
The cattle cults of the Sahara echo in Egyptian iconography, where bulls were honored as sacred symbols of power. Others moved south, blending into the Sahel and West Africa. Farming traditions, the use of gourds, millet, and sorghum, and the rhythms of music and ritual carried forward into later cultures. The Sahara's rock art remains one of the earliest museums of humanity, proof of people adapting, celebrating, and imagining across millennia.
Children, long ago, this very desert where we now gather was a place of flowing rivers. In those days, the desert was not dry and barren. but teeming with life, fed by great rivers that...
Its legacies survive in language, in memory, and in the landscapes shaped by their migration. The Green Sahara shaped the Nile, it shaped Africa, and through Africa, it shaped the world. Its memory reminds us that climate is not static, that human resilience can transform catastrophe into new beginnings.
The Green Sahara shaped civilizations.
For all we know about the Green Sahara, far more remains hidden beneath its sands. Why did the rain stop so abruptly? Was it a slow decline or a tipping point, where climate and ecosystems collapsed in just decades?
Our ancestors walked where rivers once flowed. The desert has not forgotten.
Satellite scans show traces of ancient river channels buried deep under dunes. Some may have flowed for thousands of years, carving lifelines across a continent now dry. Beneath the desert floor, radar has revealed ghost lakes the size of countries, still sealed underground.
In Point Ladue, that links the Saharan populations to both the Nile Valley and the broader Sahel region.
What else might be locked there? Artifacts, fossils, even entire lost settlements. Then there is the riddle of human migration. Did people move gradually toward the Nile and the Sahel, or were there sudden waves of displacement as the desert closed in?
These animals lived here when the land was green.
Archaeologists, geneticists, and climatologists are still piecing together these stories. Rock art shows animals where none should have lived.
We may be standing above a lost city, but we'll need years of excavation to know.
Fossil pollen reveals forests where now there is only dust. The Green Sahara is not just history. It is a mirror of climate change, of human adaptation, and of mysteries still buried. And every new discovery brings us closer to understanding how our world can change in ways almost unimaginable. The Green Sahara was more than a vanished paradise. It was a lesson. It shows us how fast the world can change, and how human lives are reshaped when the land turns against them.
Our land is always teaching us. The desert is a teacher.
Families who once thrived in green valleys were forced to move, adapt, or vanish. The climate did not ask for permission. Today we face echoes of that story. From deserts expanding in the Sahel to melting glaciers and rising seas, climate change is no longer a theory, but a lived experience. The Sahara teaches us that resilience is possible. Our ancestors adapted, carried their traditions, and built new worlds along the Nile and beyond. But it also teaches us that ignoring change is never an option. For scientists, the Green Sahara is not only about the past, it is a warning about our future.
What was once a distant past is now our future.
The desert has a voice.
Will we listen this time?
And for humanity, it is a reminder that the line between abundance and collapse is fragile. If the world could once bloom and then wither in the span of centuries, what might happen in just decades if we are not careful? The desert is silent now, but its message is loud. History is not only what we inherit, it is what we choose to repeat or prevent. The Sahara, once green, then desert, and always teaching. Its story is not only carved into rock and hidden in sand, but written in the lives of those who walked here thousands of years ago. We thank the ancient artists who left us their visions, the scientists who uncovered fossils and pollen grains, and the people who still call this desert home, carrying memory through tradition. Knowledge is not only preserved in books, it is sung, it is painted, it is lived. May the voices of the past guide the choices of the future.
The land remembers.
For the ancestors, for the future,